All right, thanks so much for joining me here on Wave Now. I'm Myra Ansari. We are going live to Frankfort right now, where Governor Beshear is giving his Team Kentucky update. Let's listen in.
Directly to Jenny Wiley State Park. Today, I am excited to announce some exciting partnership for in-person donation sites. Starting with tonight's home men's game at 7 p.m. Central Time, Murray State University will be collecting toys at their next 5 home men and women's basketball games. Racers, fans, and friends in Western Kentucky, be sure to stop by. Northern Kentucky University men's basketball fans who plan to attend the home game this Saturday, December 3rd, can bring a toy or stuffed teddy bear donation to Truist Arena and will receive a free ticket to any future NKU men's or women's basketball game. The University of Kentucky will have donation bins on campus for students and the Lexington community to drop off toys. Donation sites will be located at the Gatton Student Center and the 90. I am also excited to announce our partnership with Kroger, which will be collecting toys at 3 of their largest stores located in Prospect, Richmond, and Somerset. Additional stores may be added, and we will provide updates as we have more information. Thank you so much to these incredible groups who are an important part of Team Kentucky. Your help will make a difference. You can find additional information and addresses for all of these opportunities at firstlady.ky.gov/toy drive. We will be announcing more partnerships and opportunities over the next week, so be sure to check out the website and social media for updates. December 14th is the deadline to make a donation at most sites or to mail in donations to Jenny Wiley State Park. Kentuckians have been through a lot in the past year. Just like we did for Western Kentucky families in need, I know that we are going to make this Christmas special for Eastern Kentucky as well. Switching gears, I want to send out a quick reminder. The deadline for photographers to submit their work to be featured in the spring 2023 Team Kentucky Gallery exhibit is tomorrow, December 2nd. As many of you know, one of the Capitol hallways is now filled with artwork from Kentuckians. Makes the People's House even more special, highlighting the talents and stories of those who call our Commonwealth home. This next exhibit is the first to be exclusively photography. Please, if you haven't yet, make sure to visit the website on the screen to apply by tomorrow's deadline. Now I'm going to turn it over to Andy.
Thank you. All right, thank you to Brittany, and folks, let's make sure we show up for the children of Eastern Kentucky. With everything they've been through, it's going to be real challenging for those families to provide the type of Christmas that each and every one of those children deserves. So lots of opportunities with lots of partners. So please give generously, and let's make sure that we are there for these kids and for these families. Today, we have some great economic development news to share as we continue to build on the best 2-year period for economic growth in our state's history. Since the start of 2021, companies have announced more than 400 new location and expansion projects for an incredible $20.4 billion in new private sector investment and have created 32,500 full-time jobs. So I can report, even though we are not through this last month of 2022, that this is and will be the best 2-year period for job growth and for new economic development in the history of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Contributing to those numbers, we recently announced a game-changing investment with a signature bourbon industry partner. What better way to start today's economic development announcements than with Sazerac Company and its record-setting investment in the Commonwealth? The Louisville-based company recently announced a $600 million expansion in Laurel County, which represents the single largest distilled spirits-related investment in Kentucky's history. The investment includes the addition of nearly 20 new barrel storage warehouses in Laurel County, which are going to create up to 50 full-time jobs for Kentucky residents. The project also includes a 72,000 square foot expansion of Robinson Stave and Cumberland Cooperage, which Sazerac acquired in 2014 to increase production capacity for barrels that it uses to age its whiskey. Work on the project is expected to begin in the coming weeks, with completion of the first seven barrel warehouses expected in the spring of 2025. I want to thank Sazerac for their leadership, for their continued investment, for their delicious bourbon, and I look forward to seeing this project come to fruition. I also want to highlight a great event I attended in Louisville yesterday as I joined leaders from LDG Multifamily for the ribbon cutting ceremony of their new company headquarters. So LDG is an affordable housing developer that's created 22,000 housing units in 7 states, including 4,000 in Kentucky. LDG is one of the leading developers of affordable housing in the entire country. They have employees in Louisville, Nashville, and Atlanta, but they chose to stay in Kentucky for their headquarters. In August of last year, we announced the incentive package for their $10.75 million investment as they had outgrown their previous headquarters. So this is larger space in Louisville's historic Madrid building that now houses the company's existing staff. And when they put forth that application, they said they were going to hire 50 Kentuckians to really high-wage jobs. I think they're average about $85,000 a year. Well, the good news is the ribbon cutting just occurred, and they've already hired 22 and are moving quickly towards that goal. This is a great company run by great people who have a real passion for serving those in need. If you go to one of their facilities, they work on after-school tutoring, additional educational opportunities, trying to meet the needs of folks that maybe with just a little extra help and that place to live can really provide more opportunities for that next generation. That's something as a parent I know we all want. All right, some additional good news. And this hadn't been good news for a while, but it's gas prices. They continue to drop. Kentucky's gas prices are 29 cents below the national average. We're one of the states with the lowest gas prices in the country. As of today, our average is $3 and about 18 cents. It's just barely under $3.18. It's 3.179. That's down 3 cents just from yesterday, 12 cents from last week, and 20 cents from last month. This is a trend that we want to see continue. And at this rate, we may, in the coming weeks, get down to where we even were last year before rising gas prices. And we get, though, that inflation isn't just about gas prices. And especially moving into this holiday season, even with the incredible spending out there and the larger growth in our national economy than predicted, things can still be hard for some of our families. So as a reminder, a couple things we've done to keep more dollars in people's pockets. In February, we froze the rate on vehicle property tax for 2 years. That's going to save Kentuckians $340 million. I filed an emergency regulation that froze the state's gas tax. It was going to go up on everybody. Gas was going to be at least 2 cents more expensive, and that can really add up. That's going to save Kentuckians $35.4 million. And I made a push to temporarily reduce the sales tax. Inflation hurts because things cost too much. It would have been the best solution to help to make things not cost as much. That would have saved Kentuckians $873 million in relief. Ultimately, the General Assembly refused to take that step. Remember, though, that there are other ways to save. We can save you $1 on your rent or in other areas. Then you'll have more dollars, whether that is for gas or for Christmas coming up. So remember, we still have funds to help people who are behind on their rent or on their mortgage, programs to help if you qualify on paying your internet bill, child care assistance programs, prescription drug assistance programs. These are all things that have been impacted by rising costs. So please check out those programs. If you qualify, we want you on them. We want you to get that extra help. We will make it through what is a temporary period of inflation. We get different experts telling us that it'll last different periods of time. But folks, it's hard, but we are going to make it. Just make sure that you use all the tools that are out there, and we will continue to try to find ways to keep more dollars in your pocket as prices ultimately come down. Update on Eastern Kentucky flooding. First, FEMA is still processing and still working on claims. So keep pushing. If you filed a FEMA claim but haven't yet gotten an award, do not give up. Just think about in the last month since the deadline passed for applications, FEMA's approved more than $7 million in additional funds for Kentucky and Eastern Kentucky flood survivors. That's money going directly into the pockets of Kentuckians to help them meet disaster-related needs. And what it means is you can still get that claim approved. While our disaster recovery centers closed, there are 7 what we call multi-agency resource centers, or MARCs, that are still available for face-to-face help. MARCs bring agencies together. They are collaborative operations. They are a critical venue for coordinated recovery from this natural disaster. So if you have questions about anything about the recovery, if you need a little bit of help, if you need help with your appeal with FEMA, or just help scanning and uploading the important documents that you have to send to FEMA, these areas are to help you. So if you've had challenges, go see somebody. These are all Kentuckians working in these facilities, and they want you to get that award to help rebuild your lives. Remember, you can also always call the FEMA helpline at 800-621-3362. And I want to remind everyone the 2 main reasons that Kentuckians have been ruled ineligible for assistance are missed inspections. That's when FEMA has scheduled a time to come to where your home was, or that FEMA can't get an individual to pick up the phone when they call. These are things that we can address, or we should be able to address. So please, if you've applied for assistance, pick up the phone. Even if the number that you see, you might not recognize. And please make sure you are there for your scheduled appointment. If you're having trouble with any of those, go to one of these MARC centers and let them help you. I want everybody who's filed that is eligible to ultimately get approved. Do not give up. We'll keep pressing. And we got a lot of resources that are still there to help you. Total amount of FEMA assistance to date, $89.5 million. That's through the housing assistance and the other needs assistance grants. National Flood Insurance Program has paid out more than $23.9 million. U.S. Small Business Association has approved $56.4 million. Remember, for the SBA, they announced it would extend the first repayment deadline to 1 year after the date the loan was signed instead of the standard 5 months. That's giving folks an extra 7 months to get back up on their feet and for small businesses to get back in operation. Disaster loans are available up to $200,000 to homeowners to repair or replace disaster damaged or destroyed real estate. There's also up to $40,000 available to repair or replace disaster damaged or destroyed personal property. Let's put up the travel trailer update. As of today, 325 trailers are on site in 10 locations. That's an increase of 5 since the last update. And as we have filled up these sites, having to build out 2 brand new ones in Breathitt County, the Jackson, and then the Letcher County Jenkins site, adding 5 from week to week or over a couple of weeks gets more and more challenging. 270 of them are currently occupied with 675 individuals. Best number up here, households transitioned out, 75. Folks only transition out of this program when they have found more stable long-term housing. We saw that in the West. This is a good number, and it seems to be increasing more quickly from week to week. Kentucky State Parks are now housing 154 people. That's down 31 from last week, and it's down from the 360 people sheltered on September the 1st. Jenny Wiley has 103 Kentuckians. Buckhorn has 39. Carr Creek State Park has 12. I want to dispel at least one rumor, and that's that people are getting kicked out of the parks. That is absolutely not accurate. We are working with everybody in those parks that follow the rules to make sure that we can find medium-term housing. Now, what we do have is a program where when we can offer one of those individuals a travel trailer and they're in a state lodge, they do have to take the travel trailer. That is the intermediate, longer-term housing, not the emergency sheltering. And ultimately, we've got to get the lodges back up and open for tourism that brings so many dollars that come into the region. But every one of these individuals is being offered what is a pristine travel trailer. Most likely they're on site at the state park. So I just wanted to make sure that we clarified for everybody what the process is, and we want to make sure that we continue to provide for the needs of as many Kentuckians as we can. As of Tuesday, more than 373,000 tons of debris have been picked up from roadsides and waterways. To date, we've cleaned 438 miles of creeks and streams. That is incredible. 24 bridges have been repaired or replaced. A link to our flood resource page, if we can put up, has a lot of information that is still needed, including the vehicle recovery program. I think we've picked up 38 flood damaged vehicles with another 18 that are coming. For the Eastern Kentucky Flood Relief Fund, over 41,000 donations, over $12.4 million. Thus far, we've paid for all 43 funerals and sent out 7,898 checks for $500. Those are for anybody who is approved for even $1 of FEMA assistance. That's $3.949 million. And we hope in the coming weeks to have probably next week, we'll have a smaller announcement on housing and permanent housing with a larger one coming in the following weeks. Remember, what we're having to do here is rebuild towns. Some of these towns were built by coal companies 100 years ago. And that first requires finding the right piece of land, ensuring that it is safe. We want to make sure when we start when we start this permanent housing construction, that they are in places where people are never going to go through what they experienced during those days of flooding. New $15,000 plus donations that have come in. Arby's Inspire Foundation donated $23,516, and the Kentucky Distillers Association, who are the largest donor to this fund and made the largest single donation to the Western Kentucky Tornado Relief Fund, have now donated an additional $85,352. Thank you to each and every member of the KDA. What you're doing is special. Donations are still very much needed. The amount of permanent housing construction that we're going to be able to do will be based in part by how many dollars that we have. And it's costing more right now to build or even rebuild and repair a home. So please keep donating. But in good news for our Eastern Kentucky counties, I'm happy to discuss another extremely important project that has made the future of the area brighter, and that's through the Abandoned Mine Land Water Supply Restoration Project. What this is doing is providing $10.6 million of grant funds, and these are funds that come in every year. This is this year's. It's coming through the bipartisan infrastructure law. What we're going to be able to do is restore water infrastructure in Breathitt, Knott, and Letcher counties that suffered heavy damage in the flooding. It won't replace all of it, but this is an extra $10.6 million going into repair water and sewer infrastructure, which will be the largest cost of the rebuilding. The magnitude is significantly higher than just about anything else. How much damage has been done to our wastewater systems and water systems? I certainly think it exceeds $1 billion. 961 residents in Breathitt County communities of Lost Creek, Clayhole, Hardshell, Haddocks, Altro, Turner's Creek, Morris Fork, River Caney, and Watts will see $1.7 million worth of work. The work in Breathitt County is going to replace 4-inch and 6-inch water lines, meters, meter bases, directional boring of stream crossings, and the installation of flush hydrants. It's going to ensure safe and adequate supplies of water. 2,500 customers in Knott County who live near Big Branch, Montgomery Creek, Highway 15 North, KY, Highway 1231, Ambergay, Sassafras, Kodak, and Vico will see about $4 million worth of work. The Knott County water system repairs and upgrades will help alleviate water loss and low pressure. And then 176 residences in Letcher County in the Millstone area will see another $4.9 million worth of work. This is helpful. It's going to take years to replace and repair, but ultimately upgrade, which is what we're going to be able to do as we're doing this. All of the damage to these water systems. This is new today, $10.6 million coming in through the bipartisan infrastructure law to help. All right, on high-speed internet. This is an administration that is committed to expanding access to reliable, high-speed internet. It's got to get to every single Kentuckian and every single Kentucky business. Commerce, education, healthcare, and so much more now almost requires high-speed internet because that's how so many of these services are being delivered. So this summer, we announced the largest public investment in the Commonwealth's history in broadband, more than $89.6 million in grants. That was augmented by the private sector investments to over $200 million. And it's ultimately going to help 34,000 Kentucky families and businesses that don't have access to internet or sufficient internet to have it. So just last week, I announced applications are now being accepted for the next round of public investment, which will exceed what we did over the summer. This time, just the public dollars will be more than $206 million, with, again, a private sector match, which we expect to create an investment of over $400 million in expanding high-speed internet across Kentucky. Applications for grant funding are available online from the Office of Broadband Development at broadband.ky.gov. These are competitively awarded grants, but they are focused on where we don't have internet in the Commonwealth, or where that internet is so slow it's like having no internet. Applications will be accepted until February 6, 2023, and we are really excited about what can be done here. This was a bipartisan agreement with the General Assembly. I can tell you that everybody in Kentucky believes that this is the moment where we can expand internet access faster than ever before. And I think everyone shares the collective goal, whether you're a legislator or in the executive branch, of getting internet access to every single Kentuckian. And we are going to see more of that in the coming years than we have ever seen. All right, we also have some exciting news today for Western Kentucky. One of the essential parts of our Better Kentucky plan is a continuous improvement of our transportation system, especially our highways and bridges. And in Western Kentucky, the longest awaited improvements of that transportation system has been the completion of Interstate 69. Today, we can say that the realization of that long-held goal is in sight. Later this month, we will begin work on a project to bring the remainder of the Julian Carroll Purchase Parkway, that's 21 miles from Mayfield to Fulton, up to interstate standards. That will allow it to be designated as part of I-69 and will mean that we have an interstate running through those counties. The work is being done by a Kentucky company, Jim Smith Contracting of Grand Rivers. This is a $34 million project targeted for completion at the end of 2024. And as you might recall, I think it was also over this summer that we announced the award of a contract for the approach all the way up to the bridge in Henderson for I-69. What this means is we have construction either about to start or already underway on virtually all parts of I-69 in Kentucky up to where the bridge will eventually be built. That is a significant acceleration of a project that this area needs. It will make Western Kentucky so much more competitive in so many ways, and it will open up counties that maybe haven't seen enough economic development because of the lack of an interstate system. It's going to be a huge lift for each of those counties. I can't wait to see the new businesses and new business opportunities that we're going to be able to bring to some of those areas. Part of this project is also going to reconstruct the interchange at the Wingo exit. It will be a rebuilt diamond interchange with extended ramps better suited for an interstate. Pretty exciting. This is one of the three major projects I talked about when I was running, or even in some of my first addresses as governor. Those are the Brent Spence Bridge, and we are holding our breath, waiting for news from Washington on that one. The Mountain Parkway, where we are working on the last segments to 4-lane that, and then announce the route that we're going to take for what will be the last leg to Prestonsburg, and then this I-69 project as well. All right, some more positive news today. There is financial help out there for people who take on the important task of opening and operating a child care center here in Kentucky. We know that if we want to continue to increase our workforce, childcare is absolutely essential, and we don't have nearly enough childcare centers in Kentucky. So more than $6.5 million in funding has been made available to help the childcare industry, including funds to encourage Kentuckians to open new facilities. Operating a licensed childcare facility is an important contribution to the workforce, and it's essential to parents, guardians, grandparents, and each of our communities. People who go into this line of work are helping our kids and helping our families. They're helping our kids get off to a good start, and they are additional adults that are investing in these children and ensuring a bright future. With an economy on fire, 32,500 new jobs announced just since 21 and more on the way, a lot of people are looking around for additional childcare options. The amount of these one-time startup funds have now been doubled. So before you could receive $2,500 to help with startup costs, it is now $5,000.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for staying with me here on Wave Now. I'm going to stop this feed of Team Kentucky because Norton Healthcare is also giving us an update today at 10:30 about viruses, the flu and COVID that's been going around in the area. I know that many families have been impacted by the flu hitting their homes. So I am ending this stream here, but I'll be jumping on again on another one to bring you more information on Norton Healthcare stream that's starting at 10:30. We'll have more on Governor Beshear's Team Kentucky update coming up later on Wave News. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm Myra Ansari.